What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to JJD TV. I'm your host Josh, and we are here to break down my 5 takeaways of the match we just watched between Canada and Jamaica. If you guys are new to the channel or new to the series, this is a series that we do after each and every Canadian men's national team match. So if you guys are excited for this type of content and ready to hear me basically give my 5 biggest points on this match, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and let's get into it now. Alright guys, so that was a disappointing result. Now, I know the Canadian men's national team has been a hype train and people are jumping on it left, right, and center, rightfully so. This is a group of players under the leadership of Herman that have come together and really proved that they are genuine contenders for qualifying for a CONCACAF spot. That is taking a point in the US. That is taking a point as the Aztecan. Not a very easy thing to do. But this is another big opportunity for them to take 3 points and take an even bigger step towards that top 3. And they sort of failed. I mean, all it really did, getting a draw, which was disappointing against a Jamaican side that was struggling left, right, and center, was the fact that now they almost needed guaranteed to get a win against Panama to make it another 5-point window, which is fine, but it was just a bitter result, and we're going to get through it now. So my first takeaway, we're going to look at John Herman. He's a man who I've been just so proud of because he's just been absolutely incredible, finding the right systems, finding the right personnel, the right game plan. He gets every little bit right, and it's shown so far. This is the first time I've questioned it. I did not like the approach. I thought the 4-2-3-1 was fine, but as the game went on, a lot of issues arose, and he didn't really adjust them, and he's usually such a proactive manager in that sense. And riding the game out in this kind of way and not moving around, not finding what would work and what wouldn't work. And then the biggest thing is the substitutions for me were just completely off. And it was somewhat annoying because he's usually so good at it, and it even showed towards the real embers of the match is when he decides to bring on Schaffelberg to exploit and get more on the wings, when he brings on Brim. Not that that's the answer. I mean, it was just very strange from him. His game management is usually just so on point, and today I just feel like he got it wrong. He didn't create enough. The team wasn't gelling. The front four were non-existent, and he didn't make, in my eyes, the right decisions to get it together. Now, having the Panama game in mind, having David Davies on the field, I'm not sure what was going on, but today seemed like a bit of a missed opportunity. And I questioned the tactics from Herman. We got a point, which is not the end of the world, but we were really gunning for 3. My second takeaway is how important attacking fullbacks are to this team. Now, having Richie Larea, he has been one of the most consistent and honestly top performing Canadian men's national team players we've had, especially in the attacking sense. And you saw it in the last game when he played at left back. Being right-footed, being on the left-hand side, going with Alphonso Davies, finding the overlapping runs, being able to cut in on his left. He creates things for fun, and it really plays into Alphonso Davies' strengths. Alphonso Davies likes having players running around him because he has that ability, he has that footballing IQ to make a touch, to take a lane, and to find the correct decision, or just take it on himself. And he didn't have that with Adekubi today. Not even a little bit. And on the flip side of things with Alistair Johnston, who was then forced to push up the pitch a little bit more, his deliveries just were not there. I love Alistair. You guys know that. He's, again, one of the most consistent players in my eyes right now for the Canadian men's national team. He is playing phenomenal at the outside right center back position. But this was an opportunity to see him as right back and get a little bit further up the pitch, and it just wasn't there. He put himself in some good opportunities, but the quality of crosses and some of the decision-making he made just wasn't there offensively. And maybe he's just been so focused on playing as an outside right center back that he's just been focused on the defensive side of the game. But the offense wasn't there today, and the delivery and the quality of the opportunities we had just kind of went away. But now moving on to a positive side of one of my takeaways, and my third takeaway is going to be Derek Cornelius. Now, Derek Cornelius, I thought, was a breath of fresh air. He's a player who I rate very highly and very familiar with him. I like the move to Europe. I know that, Josh, I mean, it's Europe, we get it. It's not like he's playing in the best league or the best team, but he still made that move abroad. He's playing consistent minutes, and it's showing. He looked, in my eyes, very comfortable. He looked good on the ball. He won his challenges. And something else I noticed about Derek Cornelius is that he's not afraid to play out from the back. He made some very good long-range passes, both on the pitch as well as in the air. And it's a real good player to get integrated back in this team because, in my eyes, he can play in a back 4 as a left center back or in a back 3 as an outside left center back or even at the heart. So with Victoria, who we didn't really miss today because we had a great defensive showing, but eventually we're going to miss with age, Cornelius is showing what he's made of. And I was really, really impressed with his performance. I really was, and I'm curious to see if you guys were too, because he's a player who before the match I said I'm keeping an eye on Miller, I'm keeping an eye on Cornelius, and Cornelius in my eyes definitely lived up to the part, and I wouldn't be against seeing him start in the Panama match. So moving on to my fourth takeaway, though, we gotta address it. It's another one of my favorites. Is Jonathan David. I'm wearing his jersey, but I mean, the man was practically a ghost out there today, and it sucked to see. Jonathan David was pretty quiet in the first match as well. Don't forget, this is a man who's got an incredible goal scoring record for the Canadian men's national team, but the last few outings, he just hasn't found a way to get involved. And when he was playing alongside Kyle Larin, as I talked about, Kyle Larin is the one who likes to drop deep, kind of be that focal point, which sometimes allows David to float around and sometimes not be utilized. Without Larin today, I wanted to see David drop in a little bit more. He did do that in the second half, but ultimately it was just a very, very quiet match. It really was, and it was a shame to see, because we're expecting so much from this kid. He's killing it in Ligue 1 right now, leading the league in goals, so it's interesting to see him come here and then just not quite be able to make it work. And I mean, we need to make it work, especially knowing that one of the strengths of this Canadian men's national team is our strikers, Larin, David, and you should expect when one's not there, the other one should hopefully pick it up. And it just wasn't meant to be today, and a disappointing result and disappointing performance from Jonathan David. And then my fifth and final takeaway, we're gonna have to focus on the wings. Sort of, again, I guess primarily focus on Liam Miller, who was, like I said, with Derek Cornelius, was another player I was really looking forward to seeing come into this team. This was the system and the personnel I wanted to see. I wanted to see the 4-2-3-1. I wanted to see Miller used on the outside right-hand side. And it just like the opportunity came a little too quickly for him. He's a player who I think is making all the right steps, and I'm not going to say get rid of him. Do not bring him back up, because that's not the case at all. But he didn't really have the impact on the game I think that he would personally have liked to have. And of course, we had to point it down to it. The biggest chance that we had fell to him. And it was interesting talking about that play. As I said, I would like to see John Herman find a way to even switch up the shape so we could have those overlapping runs. We didn't see it, but the one big opportunity that came had an overlapping run. Derek Cornelius, who again, making everything connect, had a beautiful pass out from the back to find Atakubi, who basically went up the pitch. He found Davies coming in with one of those runs, allowed the ball to go right into him. Davies had, just all the time in the world, all that space, just to walk through a couple guys and then put a nice ball right across the deck on a plate for Miller, and he just got the technique wrong. He should have drilled it low, drilled it hard, and he said he just put it right back where the keeper was coming from, and it was an easy save in the end, sort of, for Blake. And this has to be an opportunity. If we're going to play with wingers, we need to see some of the depth there. And when Tejan isn't there, and Tejan, again, he's young, he's going to have some inconsistent performances or be out of matches. We need to see who can step up. Schaffelberg didn't get really any opportunity to do that today. Miller did, and it was an average game. I don't think he was poor by any stretch, but it wasn't really grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck and showing why you're in here. So all in all, a lot of kind of disappointing takeaways, but the hype train that we were on, it's rightfully so. We were expecting to get 3 points. This Jamaica team was struggling, playing very poor, particularly in that last match against the US, and we weren't able to take advantage of it, which is a real shame. We walk out with a 0-0 draw, and now, like again, similar in the first window where we drew the first two, we're almost forced now to have to win that game against Panama to put us on 10 points, to put us really back in the conversation, and a lot of pressure going back against a Panama team who just keeps showing the doubters wrong. So we're going to have to see how that match goes, but if you guys did enjoy this segment, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe if you guys are new, and we guys will see you in the next one. Take care, friends.